Good afternoon and welcome to today's training. My name is Sharon Blackman. I'm the Director of Training at Families Helping Families of Greater New Orleans, and I'll be your presenter today. At the completion of the presentation, you'll be provided with a resource list containing all of the links that are mentioned within this presentation. So don't feel like you've got to write them down or take screenshots or anything. You will be getting them. We've compiled them into a single document, and it has the name of the resource, a little bit of a description, the URL, as well as a QR code. So you should be able to access all of the information that we have today. Plus, you will also have a copy of this PowerPoint in a PDF form, so you'll be able to access any of the links that are on the screens. So I asked you to get us to let us know who you are in the chat box. We have some parents that are also professionals. We have a vocational specialist with Jefferson Parish Schools. We have a grandmother of a young man, a 28-year-old with autism, support coordinator in Region 6, case management, parent, program monitor with an LGE. Welcome back. I saw you last time, and I think you've been every time. So thanks for coming to all these different sessions. Well, I'm going to get started because today's is rather lengthy, but I wanted to just kind of recap the this series that we've been doing. The purpose of this 4-part series was to introduce work to youth with disabilities and their families. A lot of folks are unaware of the skills that youth and young adults need to be developing, or they're unaware of how to help them develop them. I think that's probably more accurate. But we know that employment for youth and young adults with disabilities is very low. And so we need to look at ways that we can encourage the skills that are lacking. And this is our flyer for this series on the introduction to work for young adults with disabilities and their families. And every week, we've looked at a different work-related topic. And the first one on September 7th, we examined the family and education's role in supporting youth to acquire appropriate work and career readiness skills. The second part on the following Thursday provided an overview of laws that support youth with disabilities and career readiness. The third part of the training last Thursday, we introduced you to the Independent Futures That Work project resource, and that was the Working Independently, Here We Come checklist, and also the career readiness skills that were identified on that resource. And so today, I'll provide an overview of resources available to support the development of the skills that were identified on the checklist, and there are a lot of them. And next week at this same time on Thursday at noon, we're going to have a presentation from LRS, Louisiana Rehabilitation Services. So they'll kind of follow up with this work series. And before we go too far, let's look at some of the acronyms that you may see or hear during today's presentation. VR refers to vocational rehabilitation. LRS, as I just said, Louisiana Rehabilitation Services, and that's Louisiana's vocational rehabilitation agency. WIOA, W-I-O-A, WIOA is the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. WINTAC is the Workforce Innovation Technical Assistance Center. PREETS is the Pre-Employment Transition Services, and that's something that LRS provides. JAN is the Job Accommodations Network. And this presentation was created by the Independent Futures That Work project. There were a lot of parent training and information centers in our region that were included in this project. And those are centers like ours is the Parent Training and Information Center for Louisiana. And also our partners in Alabama, Mississippi, Texas, Arkansas, and Oklahoma were also involved in developing this training series, which I think has been really informational and helpful. So the next portion of our presentation is going to look at a variety of resources available to assist families, educators, and other professionals who work with youth and young adults with disabilities, and to help them to develop the skills that are necessary to not only seek and obtain employment, but also to keep employment, which is also a challenge. First, we'll look at organization and time management skills, and we'll examine a variety of resources that are available to assist you in developing these skills in youth and young adults with disabilities. And again, all of the resources that we'll be discussing in this presentation will be emailed to you along with the slide deck. So the first resource that we'll look at is the Eisenhower matrix, sometimes referred to as the urgent important matrix. And this resource helps turn sort of an abstract list of tasks into something a little more concrete. So you can see the little the little table on the screen. What you do is create a table or spreadsheet with 4 quadrants, and across the top you have the first column urgent and then non-urgent. On the left, the rows are important and not important. So when you cross those, quadrant 1, the first light green section, is for tasks that are both important and urgent. Quadrant 2 to the right is for tasks that are important but not urgent. Quadrant 3, which I think probably should be quadrant 4, is for tasks that are not important but urgent. I'm not sure how you get to that point, but quadrant 4 is for tasks that are not urgent and they're not important, so you can delete or postpone those. So you assign tasks to the appropriate quadrant, and this format helps the user to prioritize and organize tasks to be done. And another way to categorize tasks is by the headings of do it first, and these are important tasks that should be completed immediately. Tag it with schedule, and these are important tasks but not urgent, so they should be scheduled or completed. I use my my task on on Google Calendar for today. I have several tasks listed under Google Calendar just to make sure that I get things done that are supposed to be done. So those were scheduled when I had in my mind this needs to be done on this day, then I put it on my task, made a task for it on my calendar. And then delegate is another tag. If a task is less important but it's urgent, consider whether this task can be done by someone else, and if so, delegate that task. I guess the urgent part means it's time sensitive, and so that's how you get to something that's urgent but not important. And then the don't do. If the task is neither urgent nor important, then consider whether the task should not get done, just whether or not you even need to do that. So some tips for using the Eisenhower matrix are to put things on a to-do list. Doing that frees up your mind, but always question what needs to be done first. So that's the first tip. Another tip is try limiting yourself to no more than like 5 to 8 tasks under each category. And before adding additional tasks, complete the most important ones first. Another tip, maintain separate lists for professional and work tasks, and then for personal tasks. So maintain 2 lists. I am a list maker, so this is kind of right in my wheelhouse. But another tip is don't let other people define your priorities. My daughter and I go head to head about this a lot because my priority is that she drops everything and empties the dishwasher, but that's not her priority. So, as an adult, you have to set your own priorities, and then try not to procrastinate too much. That's important as well. On your resource sheet, there will be a link to a YouTube video on the Eisenhower matrix. I wasn't sure if I could find it on the resource sheet, so I also put it actually on this slide, so you'll be able to access that when you get it in the PDF form, and you have to download it though for the links to go live. Now this slide looks at some tips based on the online article, Time Management for Kids with Learning Disabilities. by Leslie Jossel. And the first tip is one that we could all benefit from. In a busy world full of commitments, it's important just to keep up with events. So Jossel recommends using a planner, and that can be paper or electronic format, but use it to record class assignments, after school activities, work commitments, plans with family and friends, etc. And a planner helps you keep track of when things are due or when they need to happen, and to avoid overscheduling or scheduling conflicts. With the Google Calendar, which is just a planner online, but you can share that Google Calendar, and so like your whole family, for example, can add to the Google Calendar. I've tried to get my husband to do this with me, and we made an attempt at it a few years ago because I use it religiously. And it would be nice for us to all have an idea of what's going on with the others, and sometimes that things get missed. So the second tip is to start with the toughest task first. And Jossel recommends that we teach our young people with disabilities to start with the hardest, longest, or least liked activity first, so that it'll provide a feeling of satisfaction when we've completed that task and we're able to move on to something more enjoyable. Kind of get that big thing out of the way first, and then it's kind of a relief. And you don't have it hanging over you, or you're not dreading it. And it also prevents them from procrastinating over that one task and not going on to the next thing because they haven't gotten that done. The third tip is to break tasks up into achievable and manageable parts. Taking a long task or project and dividing it up into steps or shorter tasks that can help to make the task seem less overwhelming is the goal there. The fourth tip is to estimate the time. So determine how much time it's going to take to get each task completed, and keeping track of the time it takes for certain tasks will also assist in planning for future tasks. And then the last tip is to use timers. Using a timer or a buzzer to keep track of time can help a young person to self-monitor. And it can also help a young person know when transitions are going to take place. Smartphones, of course, we all know about our clock and our alarm clock and our timers and our stopwatches and everything else on our smartphones. That, along with other reminder apps, can be really wonderful resources. These next resources will look at how we can build self-determination and self-advocacy skills in youth and young adults with disabilities. And this is a critical skill to develop so that these individuals can make decisions for themselves. They can ask for help or support, and they can also stand up for their rights. Teaching self-determination and self-advocacy skills to youth and young adults should begin way before the age that they're going to need to use those skills. These skills should be taught early in order to help in that decision-making, develop the decision-making skills and goal-setting skills. And there are some ways that this can be done. First, allow children with disabilities to make choices about simple life matters from an early age. Examples include what clothes to wear, what to make for lunch, and then expand the complexity of the decisions as they mature. Just make sure that all of the choices you give are appropriate so that little Marco doesn't go to school in 30-degree weather wearing a swimsuit, that kind of thing. So the second tip is to set short-term goals for them to meet and work with them to create a plan to meet those goals. An example might be saving up to purchase something that they want, and then creating ways to raise funds and to save money. 3, encourage participation of individuals with disabilities in their IEP meetings from an early age to familiarize them with the process. If you begin in the early elementary years, they can come into the meeting and just maybe share something about themselves or something they like or dislike, tell about their hobbies. They can provide introductions as well to the team members. And these simple steps can become more complex as that individual matures, and eventually the student could even lead their own IEP meetings. And then 4, teach self-determination and self-advocacy skills within high school transition classes and through pre-employment transition services that are provided by LRS, those vocational rehabilitation counselors. The next few slides will have some resources that can be used to more formally develop these skills. Choice Maker is a free curriculum resource available from the Zaro Center at the University of Oklahoma. The Choice Maker self-determination transition curriculum teaches middle school and secondary students the self-determination skills needed to be successful in school and adult life. And it has 3 strands. Number 1, choosing educational, vocational, and personal goals. 2, and these are on your screen, expressing goals via active student involvement in IEP meetings. And then 3, taking action to attain IEP goals. There are 6 instructional packages to teach the skills identified in the curriculum. That resource is free, and the link will be in the resource packet. The Me curriculum, also free from the Zaro Center at the University of Oklahoma, was developed to help educators teach students critical transition skills, including self-determination and self-advocacy. It's composed of 10 units, and it includes lesson plans, student materials, teacher materials, and additional resources. The topics for each unit include those that you see on your slide. And you will get the link to this resource as well. It is free to use and to modify as needed, which is really nice. Whose future is it anyway? Again, free from the Zaro Center at the University of Oklahoma. Helps prepare students to participate in their IEP meetings and to gain those self-determination skills through 6 sections that contain 36 lessons. And the package comes with a coaching guide that outlines the lessons, how to teach them, the roles of the students and teachers, as well as expected outcomes. The section titles you can see on your screen: Getting to Know You, Making Decisions, How to Get What You Need, Goals, Objectives in the Future, Communicating, and then Thank You, Honorable Chairperson. That's also free to download. I want to know about the Thank You, Honorable Chairperson. I think that's awesome. All right. The I'm Determined project was funded and developed by the Virginia Department of Education. And this project focuses on providing direct instruction, models, and opportunities to practice skills associated with self-determined behavior. This project facilitates youth, especially those with disabilities, to undertake a measure of control in their lives, helping to set and steer the course rather than remaining the silent passenger, which is unfortunately where a lot of our young adults find themselves, as the silent passenger in the car that's their own life. We really want to avoid that. The project's materials are based on research around 3 psychological needs: competence, autonomy, and relatedness, or CAR, C-A-R. When a person can experience high levels of CAR, it opens greater opportunities to experience high levels of self-determination and well-being. The project has resources for youth, educators, and families also, and the resource is free. This 44-page guide for parents, called Fostering Self-Determination Among Children and Youth with Disabilities, Ideas from Parent for Parents, provides a menu of ideas to draw upon as parents consider how best to promote self-determination among their children with disabilities. And this is also free to download. I don't think I have any in here that cost. The guide features 18 broad categories of ideas, as well as a listing of additional resources. You guys are going to be busy over the next week looking at all these, I know. So our next one, 10 Steps to Independence, Promoting Self-Determination in the Home. This is a 2-page article from a national gateway to self-determination, and it provides 10 steps for promoting self-determination in the home. The article states that there's no more important environment in which the child with intellectual disabilities learn to become self-determined than in the home. A child who learns from their parents that they have worth will become a self-determined adult. And this resource was designed especially for families because it is about the home and how to develop self-determination at home. It's My Future, Planning for What I Want in My Life. This is a 316-page handbook that's designed to be used by youth with disabilities. It provides activities to help youth become more independent, make them more able to make decisions, set goals, and get others to help them plan and work towards the things that they want in their adult life. The manual uses pictures and bold graphics to attract a youthful audience as they create a life vision book, and it is also a free download. So now let's move on to resources for safety skills. Safety skills can be problematic to teach sometimes because they're best learned within the environment where they'll be needed. Some of the best ways to teach about safety skills related to work are within a career and technical education class or through job shadowing experiences and within supervised work experiences. If those types of situations are not available, then role-playing activities in the classroom or the home can be used. Those types of activities are especially useful for reporting injuries to supervisors and calling for emergency assistance if needed. Some work situations related to food handling require a ServSafe certification, so taking the online training for that might be an additional resource as well. And I believe in here somewhere I have a hidden slide that you don't see now, but you will see when you get your PowerPoint, and it has the resources on it. Youth at Work Talking Safety is a curriculum from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention website, and it's a free curriculum in occupational safety and health that's maintained by the NIOSH Safe, Skilled, Ready Workforce Program. It's designed to teach core health and safety skills and knowledge, and it covers basic information relevant to any occupation. The information is state-specific within the curriculum. PowerPoints and a video for each area are also included. The curriculum presents essential information and career readiness skills through a focus on 6 core competencies. There is also a link to a series of 6 short videos, like 4 to 8 minute videos that provide guidance to teachers of talking about safety. Some of those topics include young worker injuries, finding hazards, making the job safer, emergencies at work, know your rights and responsibilities. Those are some of the topics that are covered there. We'll now move on to the resources that are related to financial management. That's always a favorite. So on your screen now, you'll see the financial curriculum, Hands-on Banking. This resource is available in both English and Spanish, and it offers free non-commercial content. It includes lesson plans, instructor guides, student courses, activities, lessons, quizzes, and others. There are 3 separate courses: elementary school course curriculum, middle school, and then a high school course curriculum. The high school course curriculum covers the courses that you see on your screen: Getting Started, Earning Money, Spending Smart, Save, Invest, and Build Wealth, all about credit, School and Money, High School Assessment. For the purposes of our checklist items, the earning money course would be especially important. The courses that have narration, they also have narration if needed. As part of the resources available for educators, there is a hands-on banking experience, which is a real-world money management simulation that's designed for high school students and young adults. The site has all of the components needed to create a simulation. That's pretty cool. Now, this slide focuses on the next financial resource, Bonsai Teen. Bonsai is an award-winning interactive content platform that teaches real-world finance. It's designed for ages 13 to 18, and it has students tackle realistic financial dilemmas as they strive to earn money for college registration. The game guides students through financial basics as well as complicated topics like credit cards, auto loans, and insurance. Kind of sounds like the game of life for, for teens. Topics in Bonsai Teen are on your screen: borrowing, budgeting. The budgeting section includes information on income taxes, and withholdings, which could be beneficial for us adults who have been in it for 20 or 30 or 40 years. Also setting goals and spending. Again, the platform is free, but it does require you to sign up. So you do have to create an account to get into it. You can also order free printed booklets that complement the teen course. And note also that it may require the parent or caregiver or professional to create an account and then assign students to the account. Now, this slide looks at another financial management resource that was designed specifically for people with disabilities called Sense and Sensibility, a guide to money management. This website-based program from the Pennsylvania Assistive Technology Foundation is designed to help people with disabilities and their families and their advocates learn about managing money. So the topics for this one include money fundamentals, money mapping, which is also budgeting, saving, benefits and working, protecting my money, credit, a home of my own, assistive technology, adult decision making. Those are some really great topics that are covered by this one. It's also available as a downloadable manual in English and Spanish, and it has an educator companion manual, and the website corresponds to that manual. Study Money is a website-based program also from the Pennsylvania Assistive Technology Foundation, and it's designed to help people with disabilities learn about managing money. It's the online version of Sense and Sensibility. So it also includes the same kind of topics. The program also offers a completion certificate when you get to the end, which is nice. So now let's look at job-seeking skills. Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, or WIOA, requires vocational rehab agencies to set aside a portion of their funds to provide pre-ETS, pre-employment transition services to students with disabilities who are eligible or potentially eligible for vocational rehab services. This website from the the WINTAC, Workforce Innovation Technical Assistance Center, provides information about the pre-ETS services available through WIOA. And again, all of these links to these resources are going to be in the packet that you get later on. This slide looks at the Pocket Resume. The Pocket Resume is a document where youth or young adults can put information needed to complete job applications in a booklet format. Oh my goodness, did I ever need that growing up? You know, when I was applying for those jobs, you never have addresses and phone numbers and things when you need them. But of course, now we have smartphones, which is its own Pocket Resume, really. But anyway, they can take the document with them when they complete applications, or when they're doing that on site or even at the computer, just to ensure that the information is correct and complete. And it also contains a checklist of things to know or to do for job interviews. When it's correctly set up to print, this document prints out as a booklet. So its pages are not consecutive and you fold it in the middle. It's that kind of a document. This next resource is the Career One-Stop site from the U.S. Department of Labor. It houses information on exploring careers, finding training, searching for jobs, and finding local help. It contains resources, videos, how-to guides, and also top questions. This slide provides information about the RSA's program page. RSA is the Rehabilitation Services Administration. And the page has links to disability employment programs, advocacy programs, independent living programs, technical assistance centers, training programs, demonstration programs, and underserved populations. So that's a good resource to keep on hand. This pamphlet, written by the Social Security Administration, provides information for those who receive SSI, gives them information about what they need to know for when they turn 18. And topics are on your screen. The booklet covers topics including age 18 redetermination. And that's kind of a big deal if you've not been through that yet. You get a packet that you have to go through and complete, and it's and that's if you have SSI before 18. And my son did have it from the time he was younger. So we had to go through the redetermination process when he turned 18 to make sure he was still eligible for SSI. Other topics, work incentives and supports, earned income exclusion, achieving a better life, the ABLE account, national and community support from programs other than Social Security. So that's a good resource as well. Here are some different websites that provide job listings. These are the sites that people typically go to when they're looking for a job. And of course, those include Indeed, which is the most used overall website for job seekers, Monster, Flex Jobs, and that's a good site to locate remote, flexible, or hybrid work from home jobs. LinkedIn, Snag a Job finds jobs based on when you want to work, where the job is located, and how much they offer. There are map-based search results on Snag a Job. Ability Jobs, that's the first and largest employment website for job seekers with disabilities. CareerOneStop.org, USAJobs.gov. Individuals with disabilities can apply and compete for any job for which they are eligible and meet the qualifications, but they may also be eligible for a special hiring authority. And this site's used by the federal government for hires. There is a hidden slide here with resources that were omitted from the resource list. So you will have that slide after this one when you get your packet by email. Next, we'll talk about some resources related to job keeping skills. And this is kind of an overlooked area if you think about it. We do spend more energy on helping youth get ready to get a job and learning the skills needed, to get the job. But then keeping the job is also it's another skill set. This slide talks about the role of the local vocational rehab counselor, the role they can play in helping the youth with disabilities to develop workplace readiness skills. And this includes training to develop social skills, independent living skills, and instruction and self-advocacy. All these are skills needed to help an individual keep their job. This resource is a brief YouTube video from the Job Accommodations Network, or JAN, and that's a free service offered through the U.S. Department of Labor's Office of Disability Employment. The video describes the services that are available through JAN. This resource is the Skills to Pay the Bills video series. I need to watch this one. And that's a curriculum designed by the U.S. Department of Labor's Office of Disability and Employment Policy. This curriculum focuses on teaching soft skills or workforce readiness skills to youth, and that includes youth with disabilities. And the videos are targeted to ages 14 to 21, both for in-school and out-of-school environments. And topics for this series include communication, critical thinking and problem solving, enthusiasm and attitude, networking, professionalism, and teamwork. And the videos are only 2 to 3 minutes long, so those are certainly manageable to use in group situations at school or to watch at home. Now let's look at some very important resources for communication skills. I know a lot of people without disabilities who could benefit from some of these, but that's all I'll say about that. This slide introduces this 2-minute YouTube video that discusses the importance of body language in the workplace. It's animated and it's also closed captioned. And that link is also, of course, on your resource list that you'll receive. This is a tip sheet created by the Independent Futures That Work project called Tips for Youth Using Email to Effectively Communicate. And the tip sheet provides 7 tips for using email to effectively communicate with others. And the tips include the topics like think about whether sending an email is appropriate, subject lines on emails, using the to, the CC, and the BCC lines on emails, email length, the body of the email, acknowledging, forwarding, and replying to emails, and then the ever infamous reply versus reply all. That has gotten us in trouble, I'm sure, more than once. And this is another tip sheet resource called Tips for Youth Using Text to Communicate with Others. And it's also from the Independent Futures at Work project. It includes tips for using text messages, and the topics include when is texting not appropriate, replying to text messages, sending text messages, and then texting with professionals. And that's a very important thing for our youth and young adults to understand, when it's appropriate to text with a professional and how that should be done. This is another Independent Futures That Work tip sheet, Tips for Youth Effective Cell Phone Communication. And the tip sheet provides tips, of course, for using a cell phone. Broad tips include only use your cell phone when it's appropriate to do so. Use your cell phone in a respectful manner. And voicemail is a helpful tool when you cannot answer your phone. So those are some of the things that are talked about on this tip sheet. They have a lot of individual tips under each of those broad tips. This Independent Futures That Work tip sheet is on do's and don'ts for communicating on social media. Whoo, again, something else that adults without disabilities need to work on. So some of the do tips include look over everything before you post. Post positive comments and messages to encourage and uplift others. Know what should be a public versus a private post or a private message. Use the private and public settings in social media to limit who can see your posts. And I've got some young friends with disabilities who are, early to mid-teens, and they have Facebook accounts, and they will often post things about themselves that's public, and at which time I message the parent and say, hey, she's posting publicly. You may want to, put the skids on that. Because we want to protect our youth, but we also want them to be able to use things like social media, but do it safely and do it appropriately. Other tips, do tips include Log out of your account if you're on a public computer or device. Log out when you're done. Send and accept friend requests only to and from people you know. Assume everyone in the world can and will see what you post. Give credit to others if you repost. Be respectful of others' feelings and opinions, as not everyone shares your same opinion on things. And then base your statements on known facts. Some of the don't tips include: don't post comments or messages when you're tired, angry, emotional, or under the influence. Don't post embarrassing photos or videos, either of yourself or anyone else. Don't bully people on social media. Don't post your personally identifiable information. Don't click on links that you don't know are safe. Don't overshare information about your life on social media. Don't mix your personal with your professional social media. Don't post negative or hateful information on other people's pages or accounts. Don't post or share false, fake news or information. And if you're not sure the information is true, don't share it. So those are some of the don'ts that are listed on the tip sheet. And again, I think those are probably helpful for all of us for a refresher course. And finally, our last section is on building personal and interpersonal skills. And because the resources are very similar for both areas, they share a lot of the same resources. So if you're looking for a resource in a particular section on the sheet that I'm going to send you, and you don't find it, look through the other sections, because they only posted it on there once. So it may be listed under one heading and not another. So just be aware of that. Overcoming Obstacles is a free research-based curriculum that provides tools to teach youth life skills. The curriculum contains a lot of activity-based lessons that cover more than 30 skills. And this curriculum is tailored by age and grade level. It's available in multiple languages, and it has accompanying family guides to support learning at home. For interpersonal skills, the high school level has several areas that relate and can be found in part 2 and part 3 of the curriculum. And they cover the topics of communication, decision-making, goal setting, resolving conflicts, problem solving, those kinds of things. There's also another document related to the curriculum for parents and caregivers with older children that provides activities that teach some of these skills. For personal skills, this curriculum covers topics that relate under part 1 about creating positive environment, and part 3 about resolving conflicts, problem solving, skills for school and beyond, a game plan for work and on the job. Many of the soft skills needed to keep a job are highly correlated to the development of personal and interpersonal skills. Skills like teamwork, leadership, appropriate interactions with others, and problem-solving skills are covered by this curriculum. So we've already covered this resource, and it will probably be in a different place than it won't be in this particular section. It will be in the section where we covered it earlier. All right, folks, that was a lot of information. I have put in the chat box a link to a very brief survey that gives you the opportunity to tell us what you thought about today's presentation. Our funders require that we give you the opportunity for feedback on these trainings, and so the surveys keep them happy and keep our educational offerings free for you. The evaluation survey also gives you a way to request a certificate of attendance for today's training. So if you want a certificate of attendance, please complete the survey for me. Now, I'm not going to get to send you an email today with these resources. I have to leave at the end of this presentation, but I will send that to you in the morning. So be watching your inbox for that. So if you wouldn't mind clicking on the link that I put in the chat box for the survey, you can click on that and be completing that as we go. But I did want to have a moment for any questions that you might have. So feel free to open your mic or put your question in the chat. Hey, Christina. It's a lot of good information. Yep. A lot of good information on this one. And it's so easy to access all in one place. So feel free to share this information. As I told you at the beginning, it was from our regional parent training and information centers. So several states, PTIs were involved in the development of this resource or these resources and this training series. So it's really nice to have all of it in one place. I think that's what I was saying. I lost track of myself. Any questions at all? I do thank you for attending today's training. I hope that you feel like you've increased your knowledge on the importance of involving youth with disabilities in the field of work and getting them ready. If you are listening to this presentation on a recording from our YouTube page, and you want the resources and the PowerPoint, please email us, and the email address is on the screen, info@fhfofgno.org. Absolutely, Dr. Thomas. That's a whole semester of information. So y'all have your work cut out for you. All right. Thank you so much. I hope y'all have a great afternoon, and we will be back. Don't forget next Thursday to register for the LRS presentation on next Thursday again at noon. And I hope to see you then.